Hi everyone, welcome to Devops Academy. So today we'll see how to Dockerize a Rails sample Rails application and deploy into AWS using Jenkins. So we'll see what are the prerequisites for that. On my EC2 instance, I will install Docker and Docker Compose. And on my Jenkins server, I'll be creating a job which will pulls the code from GitHub and copies all the files onto it, and then it executes a Docker command which I've given in execute shell, which will basically Dockerize our Rails application, right? So in my code, I've already created Dockerfile and Docker Compose files. So basically, Dockerfiles defines the Docker image and instructs the Docker how to build it, whereas a Docker Compose is to link the dependencies like MySQL in our case. So the ultimate summary would be using Docker and Docker Compose will Dockerize a Rails application and its dependencies, which will spin up a Rails app. So we'll see all that in practical now. So I'm logging into my EC2 instance server here. So here I have installed Docker and Docker Compose, and this Ubuntu user is added to a Docker's group, and I have created a passwordless authentication. This passwordless authentication you can see in my last video, in Ansible video, how to create it, right? So Ubuntu user is added in Docker's group. So here if I list, nothing is created, and I'll just see is there any existing images, or there nothing is there, and there are no running containers as well, and there are no stopped containers also. Okay, so I'm going to my Jenkins server and I'm creating a job here. I'll say it as Docker Rails app. There I'll be giving my repository name, my repository details. So under git, which will pull the code from that particular repository. And before that, I'm just saving and going back. I'm adding my Docker server here. So I've already installed a publish over SSH plugin. So under configure system, I'll be adding my EC2 instance server to copy the files and containerize the application, right? So here, if you go down here, I'm adding one more server here. This already have shown in my Ansible video. There you can see how to install publish over SSH plugin and how to make use of it. I'm just adding the server here. I'll say it as Docker_Rails. Server name and the IP of my Docker server would be from Jenkins. I'm creating a connection to my server, and the user would be Ubuntu. And the password I need to give, for that I need to go into advanced, and it will ask me for the password here. Here I need to define my password. So before saving, I'll just test my connection whether it's successful or not. So it's success. I'm just saving it. So once after creating it, you can directly see in our job here. I'm just editing the same job which we created. So here in execute, once you install this publish over SSH, you'll get this send files or execute commands over SSH. So there you can select your SSH server name which we created in configure systems. In the source files, I want to copy all my files, and to where I want to copy, it will create my repository name. So I need to give the same remote directory. This is the directory which will create once after pulling the code. So I'll say it as so, right. So, and then I'm taking one more server. I don't want to execute here itself, so I'm taking another shell, and this time I'll execute my commands. What are the commands which are required? I'm going into that particular directory, right? And then before that, let me show you what I have in my Docker file. So this is my code which I'm pulling. So This is the Docker file. Here basically I've taken a 2.3.1 Ruby version image. So, and I'm creating a environment variable for my workspace and installing the dependencies which are required, like Node.js and some sudo I'm installing, and MySQL client I'm installing. And then I'm creating a directory here, workspace directory, and then going into that particular. So what in our container, I'm pointing my directory to workspace, and then I'm adding my jump files, and then doing a bundle install, and then copying all the files into my workspace. Right, and then basically I'm exposing a 3001 port and running the railsys command. Right, this is what I have written in my Docker file, which is actually it will build the image based on it. And in Docker Compose, if you see .yml, so here I have taken a MySQL image of 5.7 version, and port would be like a 3306, and the volume of which I have attached is valid MySQL, and the environment variable where my MySQL password and the database name I have given. So this is the MySQL information in Docker Compose, and this is the application. This is the place where I'm building it. So I'm building my Docker file. So if it says build dot, it search for Docker daemon will search for the Docker file, and it will run the Docker file, and it creates a Docker image. So environment would be development, and on within the container it runs on 3000, and outside it will run on 3001. And the volume would be my workspace for this, and I'm linking MySQL. This is what I'm linking to my application, right? Using Docker Compose. And I'm going back to my Jenkins, and here I'll say Docker-compose run app rails. So these are the commands basically we need to execute, right? So Docker Compose Rails app. So what I'm doing, reg db create, I'm creating the database, and then I'm running the migrations. Docker Compose run app reg db migrate, running the migrations, and finally, so these are the commands to tag your image and then push on to your Docker hub if you want. If not directly, you can run this. If you want to push your created image onto your Docker hub, you can use those two commands. As of now, I'm not using it, so I'm just doing a Docker Compose up so that our container will be created and it will be launched, right? So these are the things which I have done in my Jenkins. So we'll see once we execute how it goes. So I'm just building it, and we'll see so what it is doing, right? So it's pulling the code. So let me just see. So it is a bit quick here. So it has pulls the code from my GitHub repository and added all the files onto my EC2 instance. If you see here, so it is there. Sorry, this is my local server. This is my EC2 instance. So it is logged out. Let me just log in and see. So what it does, so it transferred the file, and then the commands got executed. So it is pulling the MySQL or whatever we have written in Docker Compose, and then it is doing a build of Docker file here. So and then all it is installing one by one, steps are getting installed. So MySQL is installed, and then it created a directory, and you can see here jump file added and doing a bundle install here. So here we'll see is there any files got created. So you can see here a folder got created and all files got copied, right? So then it is doing a bundle install. Once again, we'll see what all we have written in my Docker file. So these are the things which I have written, right? So each single step it will execute. First, it will take this default image and then creates a environment variable, and then installs this, and then creates a workspace directory and points it to workspace directory within the container, and copies the jump files and do a bundle install, and copies all the files, right? I've already copied that. It says unstable. No problem. Due to some dependencies, it will fail. So once again, we'll trigger it and we'll see. So it will not run the already previous ran command. So it will start from where it is failed. So you can see here till it is already executed. So it's doing from the bundle install. So we'll just see like where it is failing. This time it should be fine, right? And then it will start basically the application. The Docker compose, we have written this MySQL. First it has pulled this image, and this has created an image, and it will start the container, and then it goes to a Docker file. So what are the steps which are written in Dockerfile, which will execute, and it sets the environment as development, and it runs on 3001 outside, and the volume is workspace, and it links the MySQL. This is the place where it got failed previously. So we'll see this time it should execute. So it takes 5 minutes to install all this. So we'll just wait whether it's gonna be successful or it will fail, right? So it's successful. The Nokogiri last time on that particular jump it has been. So this time it is successful. So we'll see the 9th step it is running, exposing and running it successfully. The database already exists, right? Our server is started here. If we can see here. So if we say Docker images, sorry, what was that? So I'm running in my local. I should run here. Docker images. So here you can see this is the image which got created out of it, and this is the MySQL image, and this is the base image which we took in our Docker file. So anyways, this will not run. These are the two applications mainly which will run our application, right? So let me just see any containers it has started. So two containers already started, where you can see one is for the Rails application, other is the MySQL. So it is running on my TCP 3001 port. So if I go back and take my IP address of my Docker server and put it on browser with 3001, you can see some application. This is a Rails application, right? So these are all the, so right, if I say user, yes. So it successfully containerize the application. We'll see like, so what I'll do, it's already running. I'll go into my container xec -it, I'll say, and the container id /bin/bash terminal. So you can see the work directory we have pointed to workspace, so it is under workspace directly. If I list the files, these are the files which are running there inside our container, right? So, and at the same time we'll see our MySQL server as well, right? So Docker exec-it interactive terminal, the container ID for MySQL, and bin/bash. So we are inside our MySQL server. So I'm connecting it to MySQL inside our container. Sorry, -u root -p. It asking me for the password. My password is root. So here what I'm saying show databases, right? So here you can see the Dave database which you have given, right? So before that, let me show you in my local what is there in my database.yml. It must be Dave database, right? In development, this should be Dave, and the host name would be MySQL and the root access, right? So the same is showing here. So I'm using a Dave database here, and let me just see what are the tables that we have. Right here you can see micro post, schema, migrations, users. Let me just see what is there in the users. Select staff from users. Limit. That's wrong. It got hanged. Okay. Limit 1. Right. So as of now, nothing is there. If I do something from here, what I'll say can't DevOps and can't dev ops acadm@gmail.com and create user. So I'm going to have successfully created a user. Let me just see whether it's inserted in our MySQL or not. Right, it's successfully inserted in our MySQL. So this is the MySQL container. I'm exiting from out of my container, right? So two containers which are running, and we have successfully containerized a sample Rails app, right? This is how we'll be doing it. So I hope you got an idea how to containerize the sample Rails app. In production, there'll be some here and there, a bit, a few other configurations will be there, and the basic idea of doing containerizing a small Rails app, right? So through Jenkins, we have did this, right? Hope you understood, and it will help somebody who will be containerizing their Rails app in their production servers, right? So hope it helps for someone, right? In our next video, we'll see how to containerize, deploy a war application using Git, Maven, Jenkins, Ansible, and Docker. And we'll see how to push that image to GitHub and to Docker Hub, right? Thanks for watching.